let's move on. Like the real big one that I wanted to watch on stream with you guys today. So the video is called The Downfall of the Democrats. I'm actually super interested in seeing what she has to say. Because I think we all know, you know, that it's just a matter of like people didn't identify with the Democrats and, you know, people were kind of tired of having like Democrats just talk down to you a whole lot during the entire election cycle. People get tired of getting called, you know, every insult under the sun, particularly when talking about politics, you know. It's obvious as to why, you know, Orange Man won, so. But I still want to see what she says about it all. Because, you know, god damn it, they really truly deserved the, they earned that loss. They really did. So yeah, let's go to... By the way, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Also, bitches, I'm live on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Scarlette_EN. If you guys want to, if you are on YouTube and watching this, go to Twitch.
Election night in America, one of the most consequential elections in recent history.
There you go.
Donald Trump has won the president.
Damn, that dude. Oh god, there's so many people that had such a huge ego during this entire election. Oh god, you know what? I'm not really like right leaning, but I'm kind of happy they got their comeuppance. Like, oh my god.
Presidential election in Kentucky.
To Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Oklahoma. Missouri will go to Donald Trump.
It's clear now that Donald Trump has picked up key support among Hispanic voters, despite all the things that he said.
Donald Trump will win the state of North Carolina.
That the state of Georgia.
Oh, dude, CNN, like looking at like, dude,
The evening was
that
getting
was
increasingly
clip
somber
from
as
CNN of the
people
guy
realize what
checking.
this map is looking
I
like.
know it was a mistake,
Donald
but
Trump
like
will win the great
there was
Commonwealth
a
Pennsylvania.
glitch on one of the CNN broadcasts where the guy is like checking
Tonight, News Decision Desk can now
the
project
like how many votes
Donald
went
Trump
to
will
Kamala
become
over Trump,
the 47th president of the United States.
and it showed that no one
Democratic Party
had voted for Kamala or flipped
fighting
over.
for you. The overwhelming answer is
That was pretty funny.
no.
Well, well, well. What have we learned? Nothing, apparently. I regret to inform you everything I predicted about the election in my last video came true and more.
Damn, I didn't watch your last video. Damn. But I wouldn't be surprised if what you said was something along the lines of people are disconnected from reality, people are not paying attention to those who have been left behind by the left. And a lot of people are now identifying with the Republicans because that seems to be the party that is looking out for the small, for the small guy, right? For the less fortunate ones, while the Democrats are genuinely just buddying up with their rich with their rich donors or like rich donor class, and you know, just lobbying for, you know, just for them to have everything good happen to them and fuck over the little guy. If I recall correctly, she said something that the current Dems aren't focusing on the people, but on ID. Oh, okay. If I recall, she said something like the current Dems aren't focusing on the people, but on politics. Gotcha. Okay. Then yeah, I mean, yeah, like all you heard from the Kamala thing was all you heard from the Kamala camp was like women empowerment and you know, LGBTQ this, inclusivity that, and it's like, bro, I don't want to pay $5 on 12 eggs. I'm sorry, honey. Like, dude, Kamala, baby, it's not. I don't want. It's too expensive, right? Like, I need. It has to go down. You know, there's bigger issues. I don't want to get in stupid pedantic wars constantly with international powers that, you know, literally have no interest in us outside of just using us for money to get more weaponry for war and killing them and all. It's like, I don't care about any of that. So why are we why did the Democrats focus so much on that and the whole identity politics, I don't know. But what I do know is that what matters to me and to probably, I would argue, the people that really like Trump was, you know, what am I going to do tomorrow? How am I going to make ends meet? And I think the Republicans were the only ones who were talking about that. So
men did overwhelmingly turn out for Trump, especially young men. But I was wrong about one thing. Young men weren't the only ones who came out in droves for Trump. Nearly
Latinas,
everyone
Asians,
did. The
women,
took everything.
black people,
Every
everybody.
swing state, Pennsylvania, Georgia, my home state, New York, was closer to flipping red than Florida was to flipping blue.
Also California. California had, I think, the highest had the highest Republican voting in decades. Like California had a really huge like Republican turnout as well. Okay, so it wasn't only New York; it was also California.
Turns out Dick Cheney as Brat wasn't the best message to win over voters. Dems did so bad it really had me thinking, damn, did we steal that election?
Oh yeah, did you guys see that? Did you guys see the graph about how Joe Biden got, oh rather how Kamala got 15 million less votes than Joe Biden did on 2020? Look at this map. Look at this map. Look at this. Brother.
So what happened here? How did it go so wrong? Is it too late for the Democratic Party, or can they turn this around? Will the Democrats learn from this, or will they double down and get worse?
They're gonna double down. I think they're gonna double down. By the way, they're not gonna change their ways until they lose another set of elections. Maybe in 2 years, when in the midterms, they lose again. I think they're gonna lose again. Maybe then they'll actually adjust. Because right now it just feels like the establishment Democrats are not like listening to the people who voted them out, essentially.
Go through all the excuses and
maybe
the
it'll
the
change, but it
Democrats
doesn't feel
and
like
the
it.
broader left are coming up with to avoid accountability. Read some silly tweets, watch some silly news clips, and even give the Democratic Party some advice on how to win 2028. Don't worry, Republicans watching this. They won't listen. Maybe in 2050,
See? He's probably right.
under the barren Trump monarchy, someone might come to their senses, but not anytime soon. If you only watched or read most mainstream liberal news, it really seemed like Kamala had this in the bag, which is why you should try to get your news from
Honestly,
a variety
it did.
of different sources. Oh, that reminds me. Before
Honestly,
we dive into
it did,
this
but, like,
election
not that much.
dissection, let's give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, a sponsor I've been working with for over 4 years now, Ground News.
Okay.
Ground News is a
We're gonna watch
website
the
and an
sponsor.
app that gives readers an easy and
We're gonna watch the
transparent way
sponsor.
to read the news
By the
all
way,
across the political
she,
spectrum.
if
Every story
I'm
comes with a
hoping,
quick
I'm hoping
visual
this is not
breakdown
an
that helps you
unhinged
understand
video.
the full story and make
but
sure you're getting both sides.
if she actually
One of my
uses
favorite
this,
features of Ground News is the blind spot feature, which shows you
this
what
website,
news stories have been covered by one side of the political
she
spectrum
probably
and
has a
ignored by the
real
other.
nice
For example,
take
here is
instead
a
of like
story about how
Destiny's,
Bernie Sanders is
insane
open
take
to
on
working with Trump
the
on
postmortem of
capping
the
credit card
previous
interest,
elections,
and there's
or rather of
23
this huge
sources on it,
election.
and 89% are right-wing. No left-wing sources
Ground News is good.
have covered
I've
the
used it
story.
before.
And
It's
this
good.
story
I
about
like
how
it.
two women
I
have
really
told
like it.
the ethics panel that Matt Gaetz paid them for sex. 31 sources, 61% of them left-wing. You can even see who owns
I'm gonna
these
sneeze.
political
Hold on.
outlets. Ground News also makes it really easy and fun to compare headlines to see how ownership or political
I almost
bias
sneezed.
can
Oh
affect
my
the
God, I
framing of
couldn't
a
get it
story.
out.
For example, this story about how a man was arrested after allegedly a stabbing spree in Manhattan that left 2 dead and 1 injured. This left-wing outlet says, man arrested after alleged stabbing spree in Manhattan that left 2 dead, 1 injured. This right-wing outlet says, 2 dead, 1 critically injured in Manhattan as knife-wielding maniac launches
Jesus
unprovoked
Christ.
stabbing spree. I have been using Ground News since 2021 and I am just obsessed with this app. It is a great and easy way to stay informed. Plus, it really helps me see how both sides frame the same story so differently. Best of all, for Black Friday, I am offering 50% off their Vantage plan, which is the plan I use to access all their amazing features. This is their biggest discount of the year.
Very
so
good.
Go to ground.news/shoe, use the QR code here on the screen, or use the link in the video description down below and subscribe today for only $4.16.
I posted that
I personally think what they're doing is very important.
little
Because it helps
profile
filter
thingy
news
on
in a more balanced and transparent
on
way.
Twitter, and
feel
I got
we
like
really
5,
need that
6 followers
nowadays.
off of that. That's
so
funny.
thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. Right? And
I
now
didn't skip
let's
the
get
ad.
back to
I didn't
this
skip the ad.
election dissection, shall we?
I didn't do it.
No point in saying good morning Because it certainly is not one.
Oh,
From
fuck
blaming
you.
the American people to blaming Joe Rogan, the Democrats and the media are having
Rich
a hard time
Democrats
coping
saying
with
it's
their
not a
loss,
good
and
morning.
I don't
Oh,
blame
no,
them. It was a
guys
pretty
standing like
big
that.
loss.
God damn it, dude.
Embarrassing, quite frankly. Donald Trump overperformed in nearly every state, with basically every demographic, and the
Yes,
entire
correct.
country seems to be shifting more red. Everyone was so sure dangerous, devious, dastardly Donald would never make his way back into the White House to steal democracy. And he did it. With democracy. Anyway, I got a lot of comments on my last video from new fags.
People, hey, whoa, ban word, based. Hold on. Okay. Anyways, you have people that thought that they would you know what's the thing that bothered me the most about the whole about losing the current demographic of like Latinos, blacks, women, whatever, is that the Democrats really thought that people were so dumb that they felt the need to constantly, and I mean constantly, speak down to everyone that wasn't a white man and treat them like a fucking retard. Dude, it's like, why are you doing that? People know. People understand like what's going on, okay? So why are you down talking to these people? Right. They're just as capable as you and me, so why are you doing that?
Like, wait, you're left-wing and you hate the Democrats? Yeah, man, that's a pretty common thing. If you were shocked that I'm left-wing, maybe that's a sign you need to take a step back and evaluate some of the preconceived stereotypes you have of people. Not all of us are crazy blue-haired socialists, no. Some of us are crazy brown-haired socialists.
Or pink-haired
socialists. But for those of you who are new here, hello, I am Shoe0nHead. If
I'm
you
not a
ask the
socialist,
right
by the
wing,
way,
I am
but-
Stalin. If you ask the left wing, I am Hitler. Fiscally far left, culturally centrist, socially retarded. But if you really must put me in a box,
that's me.
it's not that hard to pin me down. I'm a populist. Think Huey Long if he was a 5'3" Italian New Yorker woman who still did her hair and makeup like it was 2008. Put a pin in that Huey Long name, by the way. He's gonna come up later. I grew up in the 90s
Okay,
and the 2000s.
I haven't heard of him.
My political awakening was jibjab.com. The first time I voted for Obama. I was ready for that hope and change. Instead, we got the crushing of Occupy Wall Street and more drone strikes. And
Yeah, I was in the same boat. The first president I really want for them to win was Obama. And by the end of Obama's tenure, I was extremely disappointed in like all the stuff that happened with the war in the Middle East and how he just seemed to make everything worse over there instead of like making things better. And I remember that one of his campaign promises was to like, stop the war on the Middle East. So, but he just made it worse. He killed kids and all that stuff. It's like, yikes.
And from there, it only got worse. I voted for Bernie in the primaries in 2016, and I watched as the Democratic Party did everything in their power to destroy this man twice. So it is safe to say I am a little biased when it comes to the
Democratic Party. It got way worse with them around.
But I don't think I've hated them more than
By the way, the person just for YouTube. By the way, the person who was saying that it got way worse with them around. This is coming from a person who currently lives in the Middle East. So I am inclined to believe it coming straight from the horse's mouth, right? So.
And I do right now. The truth is, my last video was way meaner and way harsher than the final product turned out to be. When I showed the video to my assistant, he basically had an intervention with me and he was like, listen, you need to soften this up a bit. It's a few days before the election. You went too hard. Well, the election is over. And I'm sorry,
hard.
River,
Go hard.
but I'm going hard.
Let's go. Based.
You idiots. You morons. You imbeciles. Kamala Harris? Really? That's who you threw up there? The one who dropped out before Iowa? The one who got blown the f out by Tulsi Gabbard?
In 2016, I think it was, right? Or 2020.
Saviors of democracy? Where the f was the democracy? Oh, big congratulations to Tim Walz on being the first white male DEI hire. It didn't work. The DNC completely neutered that guy, reduced him to this weird token white man. Hello, fellow men, I too play football. But hey, men weren't the only demographic you completely dropped the ball with. Trump made incredible gains with women, too. Oh, and all those never-Trumpers you tried to court, the people who like the old, respectable GOP.
Yep.
You know, the
Yep.
old, respectable GOP that led us into a pointless war that cost us.
You know what shocked me? Before she continues, you know what absolutely shocked me about the Kamala thing was when she got endorsed by freaking Dick Cheney. I rest my case.
Trillions of dollars and millions of lives, but we're at least nice on Twitter. That GOP. Yeah, they didn't come out and vote for your ass either. So you got Liz Cheney to tag along for what? For f***ing what? You raised.
Bro, dude, I pre-watched this video. Completely pre-watched this. Dude, guys, I'm sorry, I pre-watched the video.
$1 billion and ended up 20 million in debt? Where the hell did all that money go? Maybe you should have blown it all on celebrity appearances that did nothing. Or maybe it was spending six figures on a single-use set for the Call Her Daddy
That was wild,
podcast
by the way.
hit a
I read
million
that.
views.
That was
I wanna see a
insane.
full audit of this campaign, because I wouldn't be surprised.
We're never
if
gonna
this
get
was
an
all,
audit
a
of the
big
campaign either.
money laundering scheme, because honestly, that makes more sense than this being a legitimate presidential campaign. Then, they had the audacity to beg their supporters for money after she lost. How about you? How about every DNC consultant should have this map sewn onto the inside of their eyelids? May they never have a peaceful wink of sleep for the rest of their miserable lives. So that is how I feel about the whole situation. But
Did they really ask for money after they lost? Did they really? Oh my
what do
god.
Democrats and the media think? What do they think the Harris campaign did wrong? Why do they think Kamala lost?
I think Harris ran a really good campaign. If there's one person
For a
I do not
recount
blame
too?
this loss,
Yes? Okay,
it is
dude.
Vice President Harris.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
This is gonna be a long fucking
What
video.
the hell?
The media this
How do
morning
you
think
lose to
Dems need to
Orange
have a
Man
reckoning.
bad and then
No,
do that?
we don't. We can't be blamed because we expected Americans to be who they always claim they are. Democrats don't have a messaging problem. America has a racism problem. Kamala ran a
you.
flawless campaign in 100 days, and I refuse to let y'all gaslight me into believing anything other than that.
Okay, I'll say this. Okay, actually, hold on. I don't think her campaign was like that terrible considering what worked previously on the previous like campaign for Joe Biden. That being said, she lost because she's a woman and a black one at that. No, dude. She lost because she's out of touch and nobody likes her. Like, she couldn't have performed any worse on the primaries when she was actually trying to run for president. What the fuck are you talking about?
She lost because she's a woman, and a black one at that.
I mean, this really was an historic, flawlessly run campaign.
Listen, I'm no political analyst, but losing seems like a pretty big flaw. Truly, don't overthink it. It's because she's a woman, she's a black woman. Don't overthink it. In fact, don't think about it at all.
And Kamala Harris lived up to
Does anybody like Joy Reid, by the way?
our dreams.
Like
Don't overthink it.
this woman
In fact,
over here?
Don't think about it at all.
And
Like, does she seem like someone who's, nice? Does she seem like someone that you wanna, grab a cup of coffee with? She seems bitter. She seems, at odds with the world that she lives in. I feel like she's the perfect example of why they lost.
Kamala Harris lived up to our dreams. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. She ran a remarkable 107-day emergency campaign full of joy and
I
hope.
think
Kamala
the
Harris
campaign, I will die on this hill. I think her campaign was probably ran as good as you could run a campaign like that. I really think she was set up for failure, honestly. It was an emergency, to be fair. It was an emergency campaign, to be fair. What did they mean by that? So the argument is that because Joe Biden dropped out of the race so late into the race, she only had 3 months to set up for it, while Trump was able to do a bunch of stuff in the meantime. So, like, to be fair, Trump got an amazing head start, but I still think that played pretty well overall. I just think that Trump going on to all those podcasts, and particularly Joe Rogan, but like he also did Flagrant, he did Theo Vaughn, he did a few others. Trump just had the better campaign, period. But the Kamala campaign, what they should have done is responding kind with more what the Kamala campaign should have done is to respond in kind with similar media attention. And like all they did was like spend $100,000 and call her daddy on a podcast that like nobody listens to, right? Meanwhile, Trump is going everywhere that has a pulse and has an actual social media presence, and like no wonder he won. And by how much he won. He was speaking to the little guy. He was speaking to, you know,
perfect candidate, and she ran a beautiful campaign of
the people
joy,
who actually mattered,
joy
you know.
and empathy and unity
The
doesn't
middle
motivate
class.
people to go to the polls. No wonder Republicans had incredible turnout and so many Democrats stayed home. This isn't Steven's universe. You just can't like joy and empathy and unity your way out of not being able to afford food for your family. CNN has a story titled "Where the Harris Campaign Went Wrong." Nope. I won't read it. Harris ran a great campaign. The story should be titled "Where the American People Went Wrong." La la, la, I can't hear you. La 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 la. I can't hear you. It's not me.
Scarlette, it's me, Bapogro, the best. Hey, hi, hey, Bapogro, how are you? We're watching the downfall of the Democrats by Shoe0nHead, so strap in, boy.
It's you, la 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 la. The cope is unreal here. They don't even want to listen to criticism. They really think they did absolutely nothing wrong. They only see this as Trump win.
That's what the Democrats have been doing for the past, like,
Kamala
8,
Harris was
12
not a
years,
flawed
I think.
candidate. America is a flawed country. This incredible tweet here is from Shannon Watts, who is on the board of Emerge America, which is an organization that, quote, shows Democratic women how to run for office. Yeah, we're never getting a female president.
Joe Biden's been a phenomenal president. He's lived up to so many of the promises he's made. There's one promise left that he could fulfill, being a transitional figure.
I think we'll have a female president when they stop treating females like little kids. Honestly, when a female candidate is given the same amount of heat that a male candidate gets, I think that's when we'll actually have a female president.
He could resign the presidency in the next 30 days, make Kamala Harris the president of the United States. Whoa. It would absolve her.
Wow. What the f*** is this Make-A-Wish president shit? Like she's a little kid who wants to play pretend. Oh, just let her for a few days. What? Please tell me. We're not gonna get the first female president out of pity. Well done, America. You failed them both. The people cannot.
I mean, that's what they tried to do with Hillary too.
That's
so
not how this works. As a politician, you are not owed anyone's vote. You have to earn it, and evidently she didn't earn it. We already went through this in 2016. Donald Trump beat both female candidates. Donald iron sealing Trump. It's not our fault the female candidates you're putting up are dog shit. Give us some good female candidates and maybe people will vote for them. At this rate, the first female president is going to be a Republican. Mark my words, it's bound to happen.
Tulsi Gabbard?
If it doesn't happen, this was a joke.
Tulsi Gabbard?
Tulsi
Gabbard, hello?
For Trump
yes,
was
based.
One of the major stories of the results is the significant surge in support for Trump among Latino voters. Trump nearly erased the Democratic advantage in this group, narrowing the gap from 33 points to just 8.
You know who also has a really good chance of getting the female, becoming a female president? If she mellows out a little bit, if she just mellows out a little bit, I really think AOC might be able to appeal to the larger audience once the pendulum swings back a little bit more center. Not right now. I'll think if she runs for president in the next, like, let's say 4 to 8 years, I don't think she'll come close. But if you give it like 12 years, I think she might be able to. Maybe, like maybe 10 to 12 years from now, she might be able to. Because right now, everybody is like on the right side. And it's a response to all the crazy and loonies that we've seen for the past, 12 years, ever since Obama won.
Democrats gonna build the wall 50 times higher after that one. We have to have a very uncomfortable conversation about Latino voters in this country. Me watching him deport the Latinos and the Arab Americans after they voted for him. And Cinco de Mayo.
To all you Latinos that voted for Trump, I hope he mass deports you and your entire family, whether you were here legally or
the very tolerant
I
Democrats.
know for a fact that most Latinos for Trump have undocumented family members. So if you know of a Latino who voted for Trump, I urge you to call this number and report said family members.
Now suddenly, immigration is deportation of immigrants is good.
Went 75
wow.
percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the border.
It's
the border crisis is on their doorstep. And they were begging people to care about it for years. We need to take some less.
That's what that was.
Another demographic for people that overwhelmingly showed up to vote against Kamala were Muslims. In a Michigan-specific poll of 502 registered Muslim voters, Stein got 52% 59% support, followed by Trump at 22%, and Harris with a tiny 14% of the vote. The results show significant backlash to the Biden administration's handling of Israel's brutal war in Gaza, which has killed at least 43,508 Palestinians, including more than 16,765 children, as well as how the Harris campaign chose to tackle the issue. So how exactly...
By the way, keep in mind, this woman, Kamala Harris, decided in her infinite wisdom, she had the nerve, dude, to run an anti-Palestinian ad on one state and then run like an anti-Israel ad on another state, where like a chameleon, she was trying to, you know, appeal to everybody instead of having like a solid stance on the issue. No wonder she lost.
Did they tackle that issue? Why, sending that old pervert freak Bill Clinton up to Michigan to talk down to Muslims about Palestine.
I understand why young Palestinian and Arab Americans in Michigan think too many people have died.
He looks better than Biden, by the way.
I get that.
He really does.
But
Muslims really said, we hate you more than the guy that talked about a Muslim ban. Just a side note, look at this fucking guy. It's like he hasn't had his daily dose of adrenochrome in a week. Someone get this man a fresh child stat. Muslims, Latinos, who else are we gonna blame? Ah yes, women. Yes, Trump improved with young men, but he drew in young women too.
Wow, look at that. 52% of all women who look like me are f***ing stupid.
Despite making abortion the #1
No, only you look fucking stupid.
issue in her campaign, despite Brat Summer, despite the white women for Harris Zoom calls, and most of all, despite the Taylor Swift endorsement, Harris only managed to get +8 with women. Despite it all, many women came out to support Trump, especially Gen Z women. In 2020, 30% of young women voted for Trump. In 2024, 40% of young women voted for Trump. In fact,
it's
so
at
many
33
women
and then
voted for him
40.
that
That's a
women on
7%
TikTok started wearing
upgrade.
Blue bracelets to signal to other women that they were one of the good ones who didn't vote for Trump.
By the way, you know why this is good? If you ever see a woman with a blue bracelet with the purpose of expressing that they're one of the good ones, this is now your red flag, okay? If you see any of these women around with that blue bracelet, just walk away. Don't talk to them. Because if you are that crazy that you're gonna essentially like brand yourself or identify yourself with like an accessory with the explicit purpose, right, of letting other people know that you're one of the good ones, you are like mentally, listen, I don't think you're there, okay? I don't think you're, you're probably not a very good, of them post a Scarlette letter, literally. Like
50s,
what the
I'm
hell?
buying as many blue beads and blue hearts as I can, and I'm gonna make bracelets, so we know who we can trust.
Yeah. Anyway, some young women in response to Trump's victory are starting to get into the 4B movement. A movement started in South Korea. Basically MGTOW for women. Women giving up on dating men, having sex with men, having babies, marriage, whatever.
Wait, so 4B, doing my part as an American woman by breaking up with my Republican boyfriend last night and officially joining the 4B movement this morning. So wait, bitch, are you saying you're not gonna sleep around anymore? Are you saying you're gonna wait to find the right person to actually date then? Because presumably, if you're, dumping your quote-unquote Republican boyfriend, does that mean that you are looking for a Democrat boyfriend, somebody who shares your values before settling down? Is that what you're trying to do? Are you trying to do the thing that Republicans have been telling you to do for eons now? Nah, 4B means no men at all. I give them a month. I honestly give them a month before they're back to, flirting with people and whatnot. 1 month. That's all I give them.
Off the table indefinitely.
Cancel all future plans with men. 4B is where it's at. Use their own stupid traditional views against them. Say that you don't want sex before marriage. Say that you are waiting for the...
Echo, I want you to look at this. Use their own stupid traditional values against them. Say that you don't want sex before marriage. Say that you are waiting for the right man. Say they will be seething because they are sexually dependent on the women who they call sluts. Oh no. Oh no. You are following. Oh no. Woe is me. Imagine being a Republican. Woe is me. You're following my values. Oh no. The humanity. Oh no.
The right man. They will be seething because they are sexually dependent on women who they call sluts. See, this is the best angle. No sex before marriage. Give them what they voted for. So conservatives won the election and women are threatening to not sleep around. It kind of seems like the conservatives won a little more than just the election.
They won and they won hard, dude. They won hard.
I don't know. Anyway, young men did come out and support Trump and apparently for the reasons
Vignetta, thank you for the follow.
Many others predicted. We asked young men why they voted for Donald Trump. Here's what they said. Nick Sumners, a 21-year-old cosmetic car repairman from Virginia, says he is pro-choice, but when he voted in the 2024 presidential election, he did so for Donald Trump. Despite his personal beliefs, he says that Trump talks about the American people in a way that resonates with him, without in his...
Dude, I am telling you, I pre-watched this video. I truly did. Dude, I did. I'm getting caught right now. I mentioned this like 20 minutes ago. Dude.
Opinion, faulting him for his gender and sexual orientation. I'm a straight white man, and I feel like we take the blame for a lot of things. Of course there are bad guys, he adds, insisting that he's not one of them just because he voted for Trump.
He probably isn't, by the way.
What appealed to him about Donald Trump was that his campaign was not coming after us. He was highlighting the American people, which we are. It doesn't matter what color you are, what you may identify as. Since I wasn't excluded, I resonated with it. When you tell a young white guy, hey, you're an oppressor, and because you're white, you have privileges that your black and Hispanic peers didn't have, and you're inherently at fault, or you're guilty for that, which is what a lot of the left wings or Democrats are saying. We're not racist, we're not misogynistic, we're just normal people, and we are friends with everyone. We're tired of hearing a lot of this BS from a lot on the far left. I feel like there's this cultural frustration that young men have that they're not allowed to be young men. I hope the male
boys should be allowed to be boys. I'll just say it, listen. They should be able to joke the way they do. And it shouldn't matter that much if the jokes are quote-unquote inappropriate or whatever. What matters at the end of the day is the intent behind the joke.
A loneliness epidemic eats you MAGA scum alive. I hope you feel a hole in your soul and feel unloved until your dying day. I hope you rot in your deathbed, wondering why women looked at you like you had rabies your whole life as your eyes closed for the last time. Unfortunately, the all men suck branding just isn't good for getting men to ally with you. Oh no, it can't be! Is that the consequences of my own actions? Yes, the reasonable and rational men know you aren't talking about them, but maybe it's time to realize that most men aren't reasonable and rational. How do you speak?
What do you mean most men aren't reasonable? Or, you know what bothers me about that type of stuff? When people say most men are not reasonable and are not rational? You know what really bothers me about that? It's the fact that when you say something like that, dude, when you go out of your house, are you afraid of every man that goes by you? Like when you go to the store, when you go to the pharmacy, when you go to the supermarket, are you afraid of every man that's around you? Do you really think most of them are not reasonable enough or rational enough? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
To young men when they're literally Nazis? Why are Gen Z males the f***ing Hitler youth? How do we get young men to get on board with the young men eat shit and die movement? Hear me out. Maybe not calling them Hitler youth? After the election, a YouTuber I am subscribed to uploaded a video called How the Right is Winning Young Men, and I was excited to see his take. But then it comes time to talk about men's issues, and this is how he did it.
But this is the part where I want to enter the male loneliness epidemic. I know. We're all tired of hearing.
The entire idea of the male loneliness epidemic
is
this idea that really centers men and men's feelings. The premise is quite a flawed premise to begin with.
I agree. I also, I have such mixed feelings about this. I do. Unpopular though it is on the left to like give grace to the male loneliness epidemic.
Dude, listening to a guy's feelings is not giving grace. It's just being a decent human being. Like, you know, it's just that just means you're a decent human being who you care and you care about the people around you.
I have mixed feelings about it. I'm picking my words carefully so the leftists don't murder me. Like, don't rake me over the coals for this. But I think that I understand as much as I can understand a heterosexual man.
Yeah, I think we found the answer to the video title.
So he doesn't
I have to
understand.
pick my words carefully so my own movement doesn't attack me for caring about men's issues. You see the issue? If you can't talk about this without
And you know
having
what
to
also
walk on
bothers me
eggshells and fear
about
of your
this,
own...
especially if you're a girl, when girls come out and start to like talk about that type of issue, you know what happens a lot? They get called pick-me's. They literally start getting insulted for it and getting called pick-me's.
allies ripping your head off. Maybe that is part of the reason men are moving right. Also, I feel like this is really important to say. I don't think all these men are moving right. I think just a lot of them hate the Democratic Party and feel alienated from the left. So what was the overwhelming takeaway from the Democrats and the left? To actually start listening to men? No, of course not. Instead, their solution once again seems to be... we need a liberal Joe Rogan. We need a liberal Joe
You
Rogan
had one.
ASAP. We
His
need
name
a
is Joe
left-wing
Rogan, by the way.
Democrats are going to keep losing until they have their own Joe Rogan, their
Joe
own
Rogan
Elon
was
Musk, until they create their
anti-Republican
own
for the longest
alternative
time.
to Fox News.
He did not like him
People saying
at
Harris
all.
should have done Joe Rogan are missing the point. That wouldn't have helped her. Liberals need to build their own Joe Rogan. Oh my god, we need a liberal Joe Rogan.
It's
you
wild.
had a liberal Joe Rogan.
Correct.
His name was Joe Rogan.
Correct.
He was too edgy, too
I pre-watched the
problematic,
video,
said too
dude.
many
I
no-no
pre-watched the
words,
video.
talked to too many no-no people about no-no topics. And in 2020, when Bernie Sanders went on his podcast and Joe endorsed him, the Democrat journalist class freaked the out and smeared him for weeks.
And they used
The
that
left
against
can't have a Joe
Bernie,
Rogan,
and that's
because
how Joe
everything that makes
Biden won.
Joe Rogan is not allowed on the left. Kamala Harris ditched Joe Rogan podcast interview over progressive backlash fears.
And that's why
So
you lost,
Joe
bitch.
Rogan was
That's
too
why you lost.
problematic, but Liz Cheney was fine? Listen, you don't need a leftist Joe Rogan or liberal Joe Rogan. You just need leftists and liberals to go on Joe Rogan. And that means not giving a shit about being canceled by your own movement.
Look, you can have an argument with Rogan, agree with him, disagree with him, but what's the problem going on those shows? I got vilified by some of the Democratic establishment because I went on Rogan's show. Now a lot of other people are doing
And so
just
did
that.
Tulsi,
Anyways,
and so did
liberals should
Andrew
start doing
Yang, and so did a
podcasts
lot of
and
other
TikToks and
people.
whatever, aimed at setting the youth straight. Ah yes, there's nothing the youth enjoy more than being set straight.
We don't have the equivalent of Joe Rogan and
Right.
Jordan Peterson to move that man in a feminist direction. By the way, we should educate men that it's actually really great to live with a strong woman who makes money. It's actually easier. Life is easier.
You know what's the other thing that bothers me about that type of thing? They aren't incapable of realizing that the reason why they don't have a quote-unquote leftist Joe Rogan, it's because your ideology and your policies are just that unpopular. Nobody wants it, dude. That's why people like David Packman are losing an insane number of subscribers overnight like that. So, you know.
We're gonna be under Republican rule for the next 100 years, aren't we? Trump's win leaves Democrats asking,
Yes, sir.
where are our bro whisperers?
Yes, ma'am.
We have to make entertaining, engaging content that men want to watch and care about. Then, over time, you pepper in more progressive views. So you want to start a normal podcast and then start sprinkling in propaganda? Should you even be saying this out loud? Dems need to seriously put all their money into creating propaganda network to compete with the right's massive amount of propaganda. Democrats need their own propaganda machine, and I'm not even joking a little bit. First,
You don't have to joke about that. Did you guys forget about that one article that you wrote on the New York Times, I think it was, of the shadow cabal or the shadow campaign that won the 2020 election? You guys already have that. You just couldn't, beat Donald Trump even with that on your side.
First of all, again, I don't think we need better propaganda is something you should be saying out loud. Second of all, Democrats already have that and have had it for decades. It's called Hollywood. It's called every celebrity, every institution, every piece of media, from movies to video games. Every celebrity from Beyonce to Taylor Swift endorsed her. She had Cardi B at all her rallies. She got the fucking Avengers together.
Oh, no, shot, really?
Avengers.
Oh, this is so cringe, dude.
Wow, Trump is literally Thanos. By the way, with all these
Hi, Scarlette, it's me. They were talking about me. Smile.
And people talking about how we need a liberal Andrew Tate, a liberal Joe Rogan. Yeah, be prepared to see some of the most forced, overproduced, astroturfed streamers and YouTubers to pop up overnight and subtly or not so subtly start shilling for the Democratic Party. You're gonna start seeing funded DNC plants all over YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, because they really do think the answer to all of this is more podcasts. All the funding in the world won't buy you an audience. You could have $1 million set and the best sound and video equipment ever, but it will not buy you a large and dedicated audience. I've been using a Mac laptop webcam.
If you're unlikable, it's just that easy. People are not gonna watch you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at it.
We all have a camera and a microphone. Be the liberal Joe Rogan you want to see in the world. But the thing is, if people can hear your opinions when they turn on the TV, they're not gonna watch your shit. People tune into alt media to hear alt opinions. Even the most popular leftist streamers, like Hassan, for example, spend a lot of time criticizing the Democratic Party. So it's gonna be hard to build some kind of like Democrat shill Joe Rogan. But
you know what's the problem? That Hassan is probably the biggest streamer right now on the left. I can't think of anyone bigger. That's like a personality like him. And he really only appeals to the far left and no one else. Like no one who watches Joe Rogan is gonna like Hassan, you know?
I can't wait to see you try. After the election, one of the only politicians I've seen who is actively trying to understand why people voted the way that they did is AOC. When I met her, I whispered into her ear, "Take the pronouns out of your bio." And she did. My influence. Anyway, after the election, AOC found out that a ton of people voted for her down ballot, but also voted for Trump for president on the same ticket. Curious.
Oh yeah, that happened. That's what happened in California. Like a lot of people were voting like Republican on the politicians that were not establishment politicians, and the same one for the Democrats. So like, for example, Democrats that like were talking against the establishment in California were the ones that ended up winning. And that happened in a bunch of other states as well. The issue with Hassan is that he's a hypocrite and goes way too far with his views IMO. I mean, yes, but like, I feel like the hypocrisy from him is what makes... I feel like the hypocrisy from him is the thing that makes him so likable to the far left. And most people don't like that, you know? Like, listen, if you're gonna say you're a communist, live like one. And he doesn't. He just doesn't.
She took to her Instagram to ask people why they did that. And these were some of their answers. I feel like Trump and you are both real. It's real simple. Trump and you care for the working class.
Hassan isn't real, so
but
that's
also
why
you signified change. Trump signified
he won't be able to
I've said lately,
appeal to
Trump
people like
sounds more
that.
like you. Loved ones say you're both straightforward and challenging corruption and broken government. Because it's different than what has been the last 4 years. Something had to go. I feel that you both are outsiders compared to the rest of DC and less establishment. Voted Trump, but I like you and Bernie.
Yep.
I don't trust either party establishment politicians. The replies, of course, were full of people like,
and by the way, that
these
even
idiots,
happened in
these morons,
elections
these
recently that
fools,
aren't
most depressing
just the
shit I've ever
US.
seen. These people sound dumb as hell. Such staggering ignorance and stupidity. The median voter. I hate the median voter. I want to destroy the median voter. Why is the median voter this stupid? I hate the median voter. How could this be real? Americans really are the dumbest gentlemen on earth. This is giving me a headache.
By the way, hates a median voter is a median voter. Just putting that out there.
I don't understand the median voter. Listen, it's really not that hard to understand. It's populism, honey. It's why when I went to January 6th and told a bunch of boomers I was a Bernie supporter, a ton of them reacted like this.
I think he's one of the few honest people yeah, I think he's honest. He beat Hillary Clinton, and he would have beat Joe Biden, too.
People hate empty suits that sound like they're constantly reading from a script. They want someone who tells it like it is. Someone who fights for the everyman, or at least sounds like they do.
Yeah, but not only fights for the everyone, but like when you have someone like in this case Orange Man Bad, just be absolutely hated by everyone that has been already there for decades and have essentially ruined your economy and sometimes your way of living in your cities and whatever. And you're talking against a guy who is, you know, shedding a light on those issues and telling you that he's going to fix it. And then you just say, oh, but he's a bad person. And then don't elaborate further. That's what happens.
How are you feeling about Trump's upcoming presidency, Trump 2?
I voted for him.
Oh, you like AOC?
Yeah.
Did you vote for her?
Yeah. Remember one thing about why people voted for Trump. They want change.
The average American voter despises the establishment and will vote for anyone who promises to destroy it. And the fact
Reminder, America is a country that was created due to people fighting against the establishment. Like, I feel like a lot of people forget that little detail, okay, about the US. Just saying.
The fact that none of you understand this is a big reason why you lost and will continue to lose until you do understand it. Capiche? The beatings will continue until the populism improves. How could people have voted for this felon? How could they vote for Trump, especially after January 6th, where he led a bunch of his supporters to destroy that beautiful, shining beacon of hope? Well, first of all, you have to understand that that's not a shining beacon of hope to most people. That is a dirty, disgusting brothel that sold out the future of their children and will probably send them into the next World War. After all the indictments, the mugshots, the committees, the documentaries, people clearly don't care about January 6th. And that might scare some people, but the truth is, a politician that promises safety and affordable food can do 100 January 6s. It's kind of like FDR said. Democracy has disappeared in several
I love
other
Shoe
great
so much,
nations,
dude.
Not because the people of those nations dislike democracy, but because they had grown tired of unemployment and insecurity, of seeing their children hungry while they sat helpless in the face of government confusion and government weakness
so much,
through lack
dude.
of leadership.
Like,
finally, in desperation,
thank God she hasn't gone off the deep end.
liberty in hope of
And she
getting
stayed
something
like
to eat.
just reasonable.
Speaking of FDR, let's talk a little bit about the guy that FDR stole a bunch of his ideas
She's
from,
probably
shall we?
the last
Someone who
person
the modern
reasonable
Democratic
on the
Party
left.
should probably
And
try
that is
learn
depressing,
from.
dude.
That's right, I finally found an excuse to talk about my favorite
It
politician.
really is.
The man, the myth, the legend, the kingfish himself, Huey Long. Huey Long was the 40th governor of Louisiana from 1928 to 1932. He was a populist member of the Democratic Party and rose to national prominence during the Great Depression. He took on big oil and Wall Street and drastically helped lift Louisiana out of poverty. Long had many supporters and haters,
Whoa.
and to this day is celebrated as a populist champion of the people, and at the same time, denounced as a fascist demagogue.
Damn, she looks
to give
really
you
cute.
a better idea of who Huey was, here are some quotes from the man himself. Corrupted by wealth and power, your government is like a restaurant with only one dish. They've got a set of Republican waiters on one side and a set of Democratic waiters on the other. But no matter which set of waiters brings you the dish, the legislative grub is all prepared in the same Wall Street kitchen. The only difference I ever found between
And that's why Trump won. Because people felt like the establishment Republicans were the same as the establishment Democrats, and that's why they all got voted out. That's simple.
Democratic leadership and the Republican leadership is that one of them is skinning you from the ankle up and the other from the ear down. But Huey Long wasn't some enlightened centrist, no. The man firmly had a side, and that side was the people. I'm for the poor man, all poor men, black and white. They all gotta have a chance. They gotta have a home, a job, a decent education for their children. Every man a king. That's my slogan. When asked if he cared about the
Every
bad
man a
press he
king.
got, Huey
Based.
replied, "All I care about is what the boys at the forks of the creek think of me." And when Big Oil threatened to leave Louisiana, he said, "If they gotta leave, they can go to hell and stay there."
Holy based.
They don't make politicians like this anymore. Politicians used to be like mob bosses. Now they go on Call Her Daddy podcasts. Sad. Huey had many powerful enemies, and because of this, he was assassinated in 1935. His last words were allegedly, "God, don't let me die. I have so much to do." There's a lot of talk online right now about how we need
Christ,
a
that's
Joe
depressing.
Rogan for the left and Andrew Tate for the left, but there's also talk about how we need a Donald Trump for the left, and well, Huey Long was exactly that. And to be completely honest, I don't
And he
think
got
that people could
assassinated
handle
for
a
it.
Donald Trump for the left. You couldn't even handle Bernie Sanders. You called him a sexist and a racist and did everything in your power to crush him and keep him down. But unlike Bernie, Huey Long wouldn't just lay down and take it. Huey Long would scare the shit out of the modern Democratic Party. But if there's anyone they need to take a lesson from, it's him. Alright, time to get out of this costume. I feel like an old whore. It should come as no great surprise that the Democratic Party, which has abandoned working class people, would find that the working class had abandoned them, Bernie Sanders said in a statement about the results of Tuesday's election.
Dude, Bernie's statement on Twitter when the Democrats lost the election was, chef's kiss. Like, it was great. I'm so happy he said, fuck it. I'm just gonna go ahead and, you know, like, just blow up on all these people that, you know, honestly betrayed him.
While the Democratic leadership defends the status quo, the American people are angry and want change, and they're right. Will the big money interests and well-paid consultants who control the Democratic Party learn any real lessons from this disastrous campaign?
Of course not.
Will they understand the pain and political alienation that tens of millions of Americans are experiencing? Do they have any ideas as to how we can take on the increasingly powerful oligarchy which has so much economic power? Probably not. All the groups that Sanders originally courted, young people, Latinos, the working class, are gone. And I don't know if they're coming back. Maybe this is a one-time thing, maybe it's just because of
they
Trump
don't care.
Or inflation, or
they
maybe
don't care
the meme
of the
is
modern
coming true.
Democratic
Maybe
Party,
Republicans
so, you know.
are the new party of the working class. Democrats' working class exodus sets off reckoning within party. Democrats, who have long prided themselves as the party for the little guy, instead strengthened their emerging base of financially secure college
They haven't been the
graduates
party
this
for the
election,
little guy
while a growing number of blue-collar voters embraced
since
Trump
we
and
got on
Republicans.
wars,
Especially
thanks to
alarming
Democrats.
for Democrats this election.
Funded by
the
Democrats.
exodus of working-class voters from the Democratic Party included not just white voters, but helped Trump make gains with Latino and black men. This realignment crystallized a political reality that is tough for Democrats to swallow. With blue-collar voters flocking away from their party over multiple election cycles, Democrats' refashioned base is becoming more upper-class, urban, suburban, and coastal. It's a narrowed coalition that does not bode well for future elections. To put things into perspective, the Trump coalition is closer to the Obama coalition than the Harris one is. That is crazy.
That also does not surprise me.
That is wild. That is what we call a potential party switch. And I don't—
Oh yeah, and by the way, do you know why this doesn't surprise me? Because if you look at everybody who is around Trump right now, it's just a bunch of Democrats. Like, think about it. Like, RFK is a Democrat. Tulsi Gabbard is a Democrat. Like, he is just, like, I mean, not all of the people are that surround him are Democrats, but like, there's like a big, you know, just a really big amount of them that are in fact Democrats.
I don't really care about how many leftists or Democrats cope about this. We have better union policies, we have better wages policy. Yeah, that might be true, and I agree, but we don't get to decide who the party of the working class is. The working class does. And if exit polls are anything to go by, basic left-wing economic policy is still incredibly popular.
Trump is an 80s Democrat, change my mind.
I won't. Democratic Party. White men without college degrees are going to ruin this country. First of all, white men without college degrees built this country, bitch. Second of all, this is apparently a real Democratic Party strategist saying this. You want to know how to win 2028? Step 1.
Fire her.
Stop listening to freaks like this.
Fire her.
The election, if having a degree was a requirement to vote.
I would argue that the smartest people in my life have been hardworking people that have had to figure it out by themselves, rather than the traditionally educated ones. The only thing I've gotten from the traditionally educated people has been, you know, subpar performance because they think they're better than you because they have a degree and you don't.
Vote. And this is what the election would look like if everyone was allowed to vote. Oh wait, that's this election. I too hate democracy.
And I think Bernie Sanders is wrong. I think the more relevant question actually is what is wrong with America?
Democrats have a smug...
It's not, reminder, it's not her that's the problem, it's America that's the problem. Everybody else is the problem, not me. No sir, I am flawless.
Problem. The day after the election, an NBC News chart circulated on Instagram that highlighting exit poll data showing that the more education you had, the more likely you would vote for Vice President Kamala Harris over President-elect Donald Trump. Some liberals use the
So the more education you had, the more indoctrinated you were?
Too stupid to
Is that
know
what
they shouldn't vote
is that
for
what they're
Trump.
saying?
Yet Trump's victory was both definitive and diverse. He won broad swaths of the electorate, making significant gains in New York and California, and winning over larger percentages of Latino voters and young voters than in 2020. He also won a majority of first-time voters. Large factions of the left condescendingly believe that dumb people are the reason Trump won in 2016 and won again in 2024. And that patronizing, visceral vibe is obvious. It's a massive turnoff to many other voters. It is a mountain smug Democrats have to overcome if they want to reconnect with voters. Once, the coastal liberal—
And they won't, because that's the only value they have, or that they feel they have. So that message is a much better representation of indoctrination from US colleges than an indication of intelligence. True. Also, not to be mean, but a lot of people have useless degrees. Yeah, I don't think the gender studies graduates are, you know, have a whole lot of value, or anything that ends in— honestly, if you ask me, anything that ends in studies, it's gonna be a hard sell. It just is.
establishment had an air of open-mindedness, but now these elites have evolved into the provincial,
Any degree
narrow-minded
that ends in
skulls they once
studies, that
critiqued.
is.
All their education has narrowed their worldview. Their credentialism has built themselves a bubble in which to hide from reality. The contempt many liberals and some leftists have for the working class has never been more on display than it is right now. Even coming from some leftist YouTubers I watch that I know better and spend a lot of their time trying to bring people to the left. Your college degree does not make you any smarter than a working class person without a college degree. And more
Correct.
importantly, don't talk down to a vast majority of the population.
In fact, arguably, because they have had to figure it out by themselves, they are probably way more qualified than you in a lot of situations. Now, I'm not about to argue that college degrees are useless. They're not. And anything that requires engineering, anything that has to do with legal matters, so anything, you know, lawyers and all that stuff, any doctors, there are very important jobs that require the, you know, a certificate, but that's just a job at the end of the day. It's not an indicator of— if anything, it's an indicator that you are able to be trained, and that's it. You are trainable. That's what the bachelor degrees tells me when I've hired people, and it tells, you know, the people around me when they hire people. That's all it means. You are trainable. Not that you're smart, not that you're capable, just that you're trainable.
Because despite how badly you want to believe it, they are not stupid. They are the people who grow your food, build your houses, pave your roads, fix the plumbing in your luxury apartments. And
Literally
guess what?
do
There are
everything
more of
else,
them than
yeah.
they are of you. So maybe you people should start listening to them instead of wagging your finger in their faces as if
Correct.
disagreeing with you is some moral failing, because it's not. These people aren't all racists and Nazis or whatever. They are normal people.
No, but I am.
They are
I'm
the
kidding.
proletariat. They're who you should be fighting for. And they don't believe you are fighting for them. More importantly, there is a difference between being educated and being smart. IQ isn't just about how many books you've read or how many words you know. A lot of it is about pattern recognition, and boy,
Correct.
did I recognize some patterns here. Maybe you guys should have listened to the bimbo with populist brain rot, because she seemed to be right about a lot of this. If the Democratic Party wants to win another election, they need to start understanding the importance of populism. Drop the divisive identity politics and focus on the bread and butter issues, or you are doomed. Become the party of Huey Long again, or you are doomed. But you know what? Maybe you're not doomed. Because if Trump fails to deliver on his promises, or we get like George Bush 3, it's totally possible that the populism vacuum will be open again. Will the Democrats take advantage of this and actually put up a good candidate? No. They're gonna put up like Pete Buttigieg or Gavin Newsom. And
Plus, there's the issue that the fact is Trump will probably not be that just because of the people he's associated himself with. Like, the people around him are not the Bush type, right? Like, so I think in that regard he's safe, because he's just surrounding himself with people who are not like that at all.
And the populism vacuum will be filled by people like my Twitter mutual and soon to be Vice President of the United States, JD Vance. That is still so weird. What do I do with this power? Hey, JD, best buddy, I have an idea. It's called Patriot Care, and it's healthcare, but our tax dollars go to it instead of bombs. Doesn't that sound cool? If you can't beat them, join them. The fact is, this election was a complete rejection of the liberal ideology. Or it was just because of inflation. And
that's generally insane to me that they're mutuals.
Afford eggs again.
I mean...
yeah, it was probably that. It just kind of sucks to see the party you voted
it just
for
feels
your
like,
whole life, the party you grew up with.
Again, they did
worse
listen.
and worse over time.
It
After this,
true.
the Democrats are gonna move right in the dumbest ways. They're gonna become like the new neocons, but gay. And I have no idea how a second Trump term is gonna go. I hope it goes well. I don't know. Congrats to RFK, I guess. I'll see you guys in the Adderall labor camps, otherwise known as the concentration camps. Get it?
Oh.
Okay. Anyway, so that is enough of my yapping. Now I want to hear you yap. Why do you think Trump won? And what could the Democrats do to win 2028? Anyway, if you...
why did Trump win? At this point, it might be as simple as to say he wasn't the Democrats. I think it's that simple. He was, weirdly enough, he actually was the not sane, but the quote-unquote more normal of the two. I think it's that simple. On one side, you see people screeching about identity politics, about LGBTQ this, representation that. And on the other, you see a bunch of people having fun, making fun of you, shooting the shit. I think it's that simple. Oh, and he's also actually talking about the issues that you have on your day-to-day life. About how much money you spend doing whatever. I think it's that simple.
If you liked this video, please...
And I don't think the Democrats can do anything outside of just removing all the people who have been there for years, which they won't do because that would mean that they would lose money and political favors from their donors and all that type of stuff. It's that simple.
Please consider subscribing. Also, if you can, donate to me on Patreon, or you could do a little tip with the little tip jar down below somewhere. It helps the channel a lot, and I appreciate it so much. And I will see you very soon with a new video that is very, very different than this one. Some of you might like it. I know a certain community will, but that is it for now, so bye!
Is it the feed community? Anyways, good video. Good stuff.